So if you haven't caught on by now, I'm kind of a big fan of Ino. Well, you may assume it's for shallow reasons that I just like anime witches, or maybe it's because I have a horrific masochistic tendency and never want to win a matchup. You're not wrong, but I want you to shut up. Ino's a character with deep themes, hidden meanings, and a really compelling character arc. You just kind of have to crack through the horny exterior to get to it. So allow me, someone whose whole time on YouTube was started because of this witch, walk you through the intricacies of her story and explain why you should care about Ino. Typically when I do these kind of videos, I try to be helpful and explain a bit of the neutral and game plan so they can pick up the character and start having a good time. But there is no neutral. Give me your health. Ino lives and dies inside of the neutral, which is going to be wildly different for every character. Most of her tools are very defensive. Her pokes are good, but only if you use them correctly. She doesn't have too many moves where if she throws it out, the opponent has to respect it, forcing you to roleplay as Ino's bitch, waiting for them to make the first move. Let me put it a different way. Ino is a zoner in Strive, and I don't mean that lightly. She will space you out with 2S, 6P, and Chemical Love, and when she's finally able to get a confirm or a knockdown, that's when her vortex begins. If you try getting in before you get a solid knockdown to capitalize off of, you're going to realize that your normal movement loses to 6P and that your low approach is going to be stopped by any button and is minus on block. So, always remember this advice when you're playing Ino. It's not about the size of the button, it's about how you use them. Remember to take it nice and slow. Adapt with your partner and make sure you hold out long enough to get the satisfaction of finishing the match with the victory. What else were you thinking of? Ino's lore is, dense, to say the least. I'm going to do my best to keep it nice and simple for you so that we can all leave this understanding completely what happened in Ino's story. You don't understand how much I had to hold back from not saying shrimple. Okay, everyone, settle down. Time for story time. Alright. A long time ago, humanity was getting fucked by a thing called gears. Gears were made by injecting living magic inside of animal cells, because someone decided not to read Frankenstein on their 8th grade reading list. And, to be expected, it had unintended consequences. One of those consequences were that we nuked Japan for the 3rd time. The other one was that we created an unstoppable force of magical monsters that were threatening to destroy humanity. So, in humanity's darkest hour, all of humanity with one voice cried out for someone to go and save them, plus a bitch who could give them some really good head. This desire was so strong that it formed a living consciousness in a place called the Backyard. I'm not going into it. So strong, in fact, the god of the backyard said this is a fucking problem and decided to put it in a living shell. In a typical backyard elf fashion, that living shell almost ascended to godhood. That is, until this little lad decided to come over and steal half of her power. At the end of all of this was a young woman left alone with a simple desire to see the future. And as she went and saw the futures and all the different timelines, she kept running into one event. The dark gray future that humanity was destined for. She wanted to do something to fix it but had no guidance. And so, decided to choose the worst possible outcome. Okay, so you know how to fix this, right? Yep. Yeah, cool. So, do we get, like, the plans later, or now, or... Yeah, you'll get them eventually. Right. So, pissed off that she didn't get filled in on what the plan is, she decides to go and do it herself. So, she hops up on her girl boss shit and decides to cause a problem for everyone and try to kill Soul Bad Guy. Raven shows up, pimp slaps her, and locks her in infinite time space with the help of Anji Mito. Ino then somehow escapes infinite time space, probably because Anji fucked up somewhere. Then she evolves into gatekeeping, in which she tries to gatekeep Ramlethal from being alive, does it about 1,000 times, doesn't change anything, tries to do it one more time, this time she can't do it, gets all excited because humanity is finally healing, only then to have the knowledge dropped on her.
You are not a girl boss. You are fatherless. You're a freak. You stack no paper.
Which brings us to the events of Strive, where, trying to learn where she came from, decides to go to the person who knows best, the person who stole that part from her. Hey yo, where did you leave my powers? Not sure. What do you mean you're not sure? I don't know, I think I left it in a book or something. How the fuck did you take an aspect of humanity and put it in a book? Don't answer that. Alright, where is the book? I left it with that man. That man? No, not that man, that man. Wait, aren't you that man? No, wait, Yeah, it doesn't matter. Look, him being that man, I left it with him. So you're telling me the guy I was working for this entire time had my other half in a book? Yep. And at any point in time, I could have opened that book and regained my humanity. Uh-huh, life's a bitch. So, Ino enters her final stage and decides to gaslight, tricking everyone to get her hands on the book so that she can once again regain her godly status. And her plan is pretty straightforward. If I give everyone the power of godhood, they can all make the future they want for themselves. Then, if people decide to hurt each other, she can just resurrect them with her same godly powers. That is, until she's stopped by the French monarchy and the person who couldn't finish 8th grade reading. The story is wild and has a bunch of otherworldly elements to it. But boiled down to its core, it's a story of someone who's lost, who sees something horrible happening and wants to fix it. She's misguided, sure, but she cares. In her final moments when she's defeated by Soul, she reflects, and that reflection is encapsulated in the song Requiem. So let's talk about Requiem. Requiem is really good, and by really good I mean like one of my favorite songs. I know I've talked about it in a video before, but this is how I interpret the Strive themes. The character themes in Strive are essentially micro-stories and self-reflections about how someone would live or be in a perfect world. For someone like Mei, it's talking about how in a perfect world you could just be in love and that's it. For someone like Nagoriyuki, it could be a world in which people fight for what they believe in and don't give in. I mention this because I believe Ino's theme is the only one to truly break that pattern. The reason I think this is the case is because, as in the story mode, she's already had her perfect world, but it was taken from her, thus making it a requiem for her bright future. The song starts out of body from Ino, asking if she can feel the warm night. It goes back to Ino thinking it must be bright like a raging fire. After that, we get a little bit of Ino's inner monologue. The first two lines encapsulates how Ino has been working this entire time. With just a little bit of pain, a brighter future is possible. However, immediately she reflects on how she doesn't have the same feelings that other people do. As she looks back on her fond memories, she doesn't feel joy or anything from them. The chorus talks about her time as being God. However, as soon as she got all knowledge, she became disconnected from humanity entirely, thus leading to her fall. The chorus ends with talking about Ino fading away without any resistance, slowly. She has accepted her death for the most part. The next verse describes a very cute date, probably between her and Will. However, once again, as she looks back at those memories, she denies their existence, saying how those feelings were never real. The chorus plays again, but there's one notable difference. The line, "without resistance," has been dropped. At this point in the song, mayhap she's resisting her death. She laments one last time, talking about how she had her pain taken away, which, while it made her invincible, also made her inhuman. A repeat of the chorus plays, but with a final ender this time. Her final acceptance into death. Her last thoughts aren't vindictive or angry. They're hoping that people will take this experience and make the futures for themselves. At the end, she still wants the best for people. When people talk about Ino, they typically describe her as the horny bitch with the foul mouth. And while that is a very surface level read, there's a lot more to her. While she often plays the role of the villain, she's doing it because she thinks she's the hero. There's a lot to be found in Ino's story. Everything from trying to find her place, not quite a gear and not quite a human, to tirelessly pursuing a goal that you hope is correct. And because of that, I really love Ino. She's great. So, at the end of all of this, why should you care about Ino? Because it's a story of someone who does the best where they can. A story of someone who put the world on their shoulders and wanted to save the world, even if it did cause a few problems for people along the way. As always, I've been Old Reliable, overanalyzing media again, and thank you all for watching. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to close this one. Typically when I do these kind of videos, I talk about like what's next or, you know, what I got going on. But truth be told, the main reason I started posting was because I wanted to make a video like this. And I made it now, so I don't exactly know what I'm going to do from here on out. I'm probably going to keep posting gear. I do like Guilty Gear in its entirety. And to everyone who gets whiplash from my channel, from sometimes posting Yu-Gi-Oh! To sometimes posting gear, to sometimes overanalyzing fiction, I'm sorry about that, but I'm literally just doing whatever I want. Regardless, thanks for all sticking around. It means the world to me. I'm glad there's some goobers out there who just enjoy watching me rave over just silly, silly things. Anyways, folks, I'll be seeing ya.